So, there are no real estate agents here unless you're an idiot. You just do it all yourself. There's no real estate license here. Anybody can sell real estate in this country. You don't need a license to sell real estate. So people really don't use agencies because agencies want to charge a commission. So most people will just do the listings themselves, and really the only people who are doing listings are like really wealthy people who don't want to deal with the hassle of listing the properties themselves. They will have an agency because it's like I'm paying for the convenience of having someone else do everything for me. But you're paying for that. You're paying, 15%, 25% commission.
Have I? Or have they? They prayed so fervently, and all their prayers fell on deaf ears. They sought answers to unjust suffering, but found none. Like children lost in the dark, they clung to the first voice they heard. And because that voice carried only agony, they believed themselves doomed. There is no path for a soul so utterly lost, but to descend into madness and despair.
How do I free all of you?
You have already freed me. You restored the sight I shared with the tormented Frither, and returned my undying body, once bound to the fallen Percival. And my voice, I grew weary of it, so I gave it to Lorelia to speak on my behalf. The sweet girl made it her own, ensuring she will remain here, even when I am finally gone. I lingered only because I wished to meet
Yeah,
my
real estate
savior.
agents are like lawyers, man.
I had hoped,
Parasites!
but no. What I hoped for no longer matters. As for the others, I fear they are too far gone in their madness. The only freedom left to them is the one only a mortal can embrace. Farewell, stranger. Perhaps our paths will cross again.
Yeah, that's a fun one, Gustav. So, if someone isn't paying their rent here, it just depends on where you live. Is this the tablet? Yeah, baby. That's the tablet I needed. So, a lot of places, if you're locally, you'll get some local muscle and the local police and deal with it. However, the way they do it in the city, in the major cities here, is you cannot rent a property. And of course, it's the same as it is in many other places. You pay a deposit. You pay a security deposit. So usually first month, last month rent or something like that. However, in the city, in all of the cities here, you cannot rent a property without a fiador, or I forget the other terminology they use for it. Um, there's another word that I'm forgetting. Basically, it's a guarantee. It's a guarantor would be the English word. So if you want to rent a property in Mexico City, Cancun, Guadalajara, Playa del Carmen, um, you have to have someone who is going to guarantee your rent for you. So you have to have a local friend. This is not the vacation rental market. That's a little different. Vacation rentals can be done through Airbnb. That's different. We're talking if you want to actually rent something long term, like a year long, 2 year long, 3 year long, whatever. You want to sign a lease, you want to do like a long term rental, you have to have a guarantor, a guarantor. So I want to rent something. I find something that I want to rent. That owner is going to say, do you have someone who can vouch for you? That person then needs to be someone who lives in the local area, who owns a piece of property that they can put up as collateral against the value of your rent contract. So if I want to rent your place for 2 years, I need to have a friend who lives there locally who has a piece of property that can be used as a guarantee. That way, if I don't pay rent, that owner can go to court with the signed affidavit that says that this person put up their property as a guarantee, and they can get a lien put against that property to get the money that they are owed for rent. That's how it works here. And that cuts down on, like, you just can't rent properties. Like, if you want to get a nice place. Now, people who rent dives, that doesn't necessarily apply. But for normal middle class, upper class, like everybody who's middle class or above, if you're in the cities, you're going to need a guarantee. So you have to have someone you know locally who can vouch for you, who's willing to put their property up as collateral against the rent contract. So because yeah, it's a thing. People not paying their rent. Hey buddy, can I move you? Can I move you to the bed so I can sit back down? I know you're comfy. Oh, big baby. Come here. Kitty cat. There you go. I want to sit down. Yeah, occasionally you'll find good lawyers. But, lawyers want to make money. It can be a risk, so that's the thing. You better trust the person you're signing for. Like, because if they don't pay their rent, you're the one on the line. Where did it spit me out? Man, I have that quest I can turn into. I gotta get out of here somehow. Oh, the collider on that cage. Headshot. Dude, let me out of here. Where the hell am I at that I can't make my way out? Somewhere over there is the exit, and I haven't figured out how to get to it yet. Oh, you gotta be shitting me. Oh, this is where we came in. I know where we're at now. I see that statue up there. Ugh, they're gonna make me go all the way through these fucking ruins to get out of here. That's kind of lame, I'm not gonna lie. Like, and this is what I really wish the game had the parkour system that Avowed has. Because then I could skip all this and I could jump over all this shit, but no, I gotta go all the way back through the ruins. Sorry, quality of life, bitching. Broken game. I'm gonna have to go back through and jump back across. I think that's the only way to do this. But anyway, going back to the previous conversation, everybody that I know and all the people that I used to associate with in my travel days, they're all international people, going all over the world, and finding opportunities all over the world. Like, if you can afford, and this is the thing, afford does not mean financially. Afford means if you can afford to go beyond your local environment, that means different things. It doesn't necessarily just mean financially. It means being willing to make the conscious decision to take the risk of going beyond your comfort zone to find something that's going to be even better for you. But you have to be willing to take those steps, and not everyone is willing to make the plunge, because it means leaving behind your friends and family. It means leaving behind the comfort of having a home base that where you know where the local grocery stores are, you know where everything is. It means learning a different language in some cases. It means dealing with airports and visas and lots of little things like that. And not everyone is willing to do that, not for the financial reasons, but because of the comfort reasons. Because not everyone is able to afford to do that for various emotional reasons, let alone financial reasons. Okay, there was something to do with these. I remember coming in here. I remember jumping somewhere to get to this. No, I remember this right here. No, don't want to go down. They're not gonna want me to go up. Man, I cannot remember how the fuck I got in here. I remember I jumped across a bridge on this level because I came in here and I had the conversation with the ghost. This part I remember because we were in here earlier. Yeah, we came in on this level. That other elevator goes up another. We didn't go through there. We came in from here. Okay, I do remember this. We came in from here. Question is, how did I jump down in here? Unless I came through here and I can't get out the same way I came in? Oh, never mind. Oh, here I am. I jumped across this thing. Oh, I fucking missed the jump button. I clicked the wrong button. Avowed really messed up by not making blocky characters, at least per everyone else's videos. Very true. But I mean, I share a lot of stuff over the years for, my day job. Like when Chris and I used to do speaking engagements on brand building and marketing. So my shtick for a long time in the travel industry was living like a local. I had guidebooks called How to Live Like a Local in Insert Destination Here. I had one for Bogota, Colombia, Sofia, Bulgaria, Cancun, Mexico, and then we did some stuff for Costa Brava, Spain. Um, and it was all about how to go to those destinations and live like a local. So not paying tourist prices, but it required learning the language and being willing to stay there for long periods of time. We're talking 2 years, right? 1 to 2 years, 6 months minimum. But by doing so, like the big eye opener for me was I went from, and this is back in 2007. In 2007, I was paying almost $4,000 a month in rent, utilities, groceries, car payments, everything else. Back in 2007 for a place in Greeley, Colorado, which is a middle of the road town. It's a cow town with a college north of Denver in Colorado. And I went to Bulgaria, and suddenly I was like, hang on a second, no one here is paying rent. Why is no one paying rent here? Well, it's because everyone owns their homes because of socialized government. It used to be a communist country, so all of the homes were built for everyone under the communist era, which has its problems. However, what was interesting to me, and it opened my eyes to the fact that I started going to Greece, I started going to Italy, I started going to Serbia, Macedonia, all these places in Eastern Europe, no one's paying rent. Like, none of the locals are paying rent. They all own their homes. They're generational homes. And many of those countries were not communist countries. And it like I didn't know how the rest of the world operated because I had grown up in the United States. And so my entire life up until the time I was 28 years old, I had done a lot of traveling, but I had never lived abroad. And once I started living abroad, I was like going, "Oh my God, so you're living in Rome and you don't have rent and you don't have a mortgage because you've got a third generation house or a fifth generation house, or it was a second generation house." And you start going to all these other countries and traveling around the world, and you realize that the reason all of these families live together is because you'll have these generational homes where the great grandparents are in the house living with whatever's the current head of the household, right? Their kids are living there. So you'll have 3 generations living in the same house, sometimes 4 generations living in the same house. It's a little crowded, you don't have a lot of personal space, but what it allows people is the financial freedom to do a lot of things that people in the United States can't do because everybody's got to have their own place to live when they're 18. Get the fuck out of my house, you're 18. Get the fuck out. Get your own place. Get a mortgage. Get your own car. Get your own apartment. Get your own condo. Get the fuck out. No other country really does it like that, other than like the US. So you start traveling and you start realizing everyone's living together. And because of that, they're able to save money and pay cash when they buy something. And so they're not spending all this money on rent and cost of living. So that opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. So my shtick was how to live like a local in these and so that was always go into the destination where you're going, and if you are going to rent like a local. And locals are not going to spend thousands of dollars a month on rent. Locals are going to look for something where they can spend several $100s a month in rent, and they want fully furnished, and they want X, 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 Y, and Z. I think the UK also does it like that, where it's like, get out of my house at 18 or whatever. And that's because those are those first world commercialized countries where it's all about capitalism. And this is not a political debate. This is fact. This is financial fact, everybody. Those countries do it that way because that's the capitalist way. Get a mortgage, pay rent, buy a house. Duolingo is awesome, by the way. UK is the 51st state now. 52nd after Canada. Get in line. But I remember
Always a pleasure to see you.
when I got back from living in Bulgaria, it was 2010, and I went and stayed at my parents' place for a couple of months. And I remember having a conversation with my sister, and I was back in Colorado, and I was looking for a place to rent. And this is 2010, and I couldn't find anything. Not in Denver, not in Fort Collins, not in Greeley, Loveland, Colorado Springs. I couldn't find anything to rent that was less than like $800 a month. This is 2010 dollars. I couldn't find anything for less than $800 a month, unfurnished, no utilities included. And none of those places were within walking distance of a supermarket. And I was like, I don't see how, I was like, I don't want to go back to this. Like, because I can go to any major European city and not, and I'm not, we're not talking UK, but I can go to like, I can go to many, I shouldn't say any, I can go to many major European and Latin American cities and find a fully furnished apartment for like $400 a month. So I can live in the US and pay $800 a month for unfurnished, or I can go find a place fully furnished in a different country for $400, for half the price. So I started talking to my sister, and I was like, I don't really speak any. I was like, I wouldn't mind trying Mexico. And my sister was like, you should go to Cancun. And then I got a contract to go write a guidebook on Cancun, so I went to Cancun. And my first studio apartment in Cancun, Mexico, was $325 a month, fully furnished, for a studio apartment back in like 2010, late 2010. $325 a month for a fully furnished studio apartment with internet, air conditioning, all utilities included. I didn't pay anything above and beyond the $325 a month because the internet and utilities were included. I paid for groceries, and that was it. So I was making like $3,000 a month as a freelance writer, paying $325 a month for my rent and eating out every night at restaurants and buying tons of tequila and other substances and having fun on the beach and going to the gym. And, you know, I was in my, I was 30 years old, you know, I was living high on the hog, it was like, and that just opened my eyes to the possibility of living in other places. And that's where I met Chris. Come here, baby. And I never left. What are you doing? Is it already hot? Okay. Yeah, Germany has free universities too, and that's the other thing. Like, that's a big U.S. racket, man. In the United States, is we're gonna get you for $250,000 for a college education that you can get for free if you go to Brazil or you go to Germany. Right, Scandinavian countries, correct? Correct, Heinrich. Most European countries and in Scandinavia, the universities are for free. Heinrich is saying, as an Icelander, I get free university in Iceland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland. Like, yes, you pay high taxes, but you get access to higher education, etc. And you get money to study. Like, they value educating the people. So, yeah, this goes beyond my gaming stuff, guys. This is just I know those of you who are here long term hear me talk about this from time to time, but I forget who asked the question earlier. We were talking about like the dollar versus the peso and rent costs and everything else. It's just like I don't think I'll ever go back. I've been asked multiple times, would you ever go back and live in the U.S.? And it's like, I would need to be a millionaire to consider going back and living there. Like, I would need to already be a millionaire with at least $10,000 a month of stable income coming in if I wanted to go live in the U.S. I wouldn't do it for anything less than $1 million in the bank and $10,000 a month of guaranteed revenue. Wouldn't do it. It's just not worth it. The costs are too high. The cost of health insurance is too high. Rent is too high. Mortgages are too high. There's no personal freedoms. Everything is, it's just not worth it. I have a tiny piece of land here that is paid for. I get to sit here and play video games all day for a living. Why would I want to throw that away? Oh, but you could have access to better health care. No, I couldn't. But you could have access to more convenience. What do I need convenience for? But you don't have access to fast food where you live. And? Yeah, I would love a Subway. I would love Subway. I would love a McDonald's every once in a while. Oh yeah, that's another reason I don't go up there very often, Arita, is because my wife is Mexican. And she faces... Dude, we have the two of us have been called out in Walmart in my parents' home state for speaking Spanish in the grocery store to each other. You're in America, you should speak English. And I turn around and say, bitch, there's no official language for the United States of America, which is a country founded on immigrants. Get the fuck out of my face. Exactly, Arita. If you want better health care and convenience, you don't move to the U.S., you move to Europe. The National Healthcare Service is notoriously bad. On an international level, we've heard horror stories, Hector.
Aurelia's voice, it's different now. I take it you're the reason for that.
People are dumb. Yes, people are dumb. There's also no school shootings here. We have Five Guys? No, we don't have Five Guys here. No, unfortunately. We also don't have In-N-Out Burger. There is Shake Shack, but only in the city.
So,
I would love
this is
an
it.
In-N-Out Burger.
The piece of myself I've been missing all this time.
No.
It feels
De lo que yo sepa, no.
familiar yet strange.
Mételo así tú puedes
Deeply
sacar blanco.
corrupted. If it truly is mine, I cannot leave it in this state. If I try to retrieve part of my soul from this thing, it will
Sí,
poison
búscalo y
me as
mételo.
much as it heals me. She's right. Surprising.
Porque es más
considering
fresco.
the
Mételo
things
aquí.
she's whispered
Mételo
to
de
me all
aquí.
this
Saca la
time.
blanca.
And I'd like nothing more than to perform the ritual, but the altar
Los
isn't
pollos
safe.
hermanos.
Too many of the sick gather there. I can't risk it.
I'll tell you what we do have here. I don't like their food, but there's a place called Los Biscuits de Obregón. I don't like their food. What's up, Smeagol? But the biscuits and the donuts, it's called Los Biscuits de Obregón. The food is not that good, but they have a bakery, and they make amazing butter biscuits and donuts and pastries, and the food is not that great, but the bakery foods are the bakery goods are really, 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 really good.